Welcome to No Smoke TV. Today we have a very special guest, Larry Hoover Jr. in the building. How you feeling today, my brother?
Man, I'm all right, and yourself?
I'm feeling great, man. Talking to you, about to spread some awareness, but we know what we're here for. But before we get into that, I want to get into a little bit about you. How was it like growing up and your father being Larry Hoover, like the leader of the Gangster Disciples? I understand you was in your mother's womb at the time.
Yeah.
But growing up, like, while he was incarcerated, how was it like growing up?
Well, as a kid, you know what I mean, it was at some point in time when people talked about their fathers, you know, then I didn't want to tell nobody about my father or, you know, where he was at in life. But then as I got a little older and I started noticing who he was, it was certain situations where I didn't know whether to be scared because of who my father was, because I didn't know if it was people that was after him. And then there was certain situations where it was perks that came with that being my father, where people was willing to try to, you know, make sure I was okay. So it was just a whole bunch of sides to it. You know, you got to see a whole bunch of things that everybody else might not have seen coming up in life, good and bad.
But you had a strong community supporting you growing up.
Yeah, I did.
That's a blessing right there. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
So growing up, did you get into a lot of trouble growing up?
Nah, I was the mannerable one. And then if I was trying to do something, I was sneaky. So I didn't get into a whole lot of trouble. I just kind of tried to show respect with everything I was doing. It was like that was naturally in me to just try to, if I was doing something wrong, I knew I was doing something wrong, so I didn't want nobody else to know that I was doing something wrong.
And that's interesting too, because when kids they don't have their father around, they usually get into trouble. They act out. So you did this total opposite.
Well, I had my father wasn't actually there in the house, but I had a lot of communication with my father. They always made sure, whether it was through my mother or my grandmother, that I always went to see my father. It felt like I was going every weekend. I know it wasn't every weekend, but it felt like I was going to the jail every weekend. So I had that relationship and I had that fear. I don't know. I didn't think about the fact that he couldn't come get me, but I was going there and I felt like he could reach out and get me if needed be. I had good understanding.
Did you do you have a close relationship with your brother Tyree Hoover?
Nah, I don't.
Why is that? Cause I see y'all both are for the same movement, but is it because like different families or something like that?
I guess pretty much. I can't really speak on that situation too much.
Gotcha.
We don't have a close relationship.
All right. Cause I see him out there like, you know, supporting his father, Larry Hoover Sr. So I thought y'all had like a little.
I don't have no issues. We just don't really have a relationship. That's all.
Understandable. I know how that goes.
Yeah.
So with your father's charges stemming from 1973, the murder of a drug dealer, do you believe that he's innocent of that, or that he deserves to be exonerated from what's it called? The first act,
Well, so here's the thing. He has two cases. And in 1973, that case is still going to be there, even if if the First Step Act relieves him, he still has to deal with the case in 1973. And with the case in 1973, you know, he had a rappy on his case. They said that he made the call of a murder, and his rappy said that he actually done the murder. So, he's done, 25 years as far as that's concerned, and 26 years on the other case. Like, he's a changed man. He just deserves a chance at redemption, just like his rappy deserves a chance at redemption, just like a lot of the other people that's on the case that he's fighting right now are getting opportunities to come home and have a second chance at life. Like, he deserves for the law to work for him. It worked the way it was supposed to work when he got into trouble. So now he deserves the same redemption that everybody else does. And it was that he allegedly made the call, but we're not gonna get into that. He's done the time for it. So, and there's a lot of other people that done heinous things and put their hands on people that got an opportunity to change their life and try it again. I just want him to have the same opportunities.
And I was looking into that case. They didn't even have no concrete evidence that he really made that call. So it was basically it looked like they needed somebody to take the fall for it.
Well, they definitely let him take the fall. He takes the fall for that case, and he takes the fall for a lot of the behavior that's out here in the streets that's not under his control or any of his ideology. Like, he's horrified at what's going on out here right now.
And I see he's changing the movement towards the gangster disciples. He's changing it to the growth and betterment.
Well, he's not making any changes, particularly himself right now. I mean, he can't speak to the world, but it was growth and development before they silenced him. So he was trying to make changes and better his community before they took him away from the world and took him down there in Colorado. The movement was trying to get the kids off, make sure the kids wasn't coming there where he was. Like, he was seeing too many kids come into where he was at. He had seen the community, like the police would go down to the projects and they would bring everybody out just like they were bringing inmates out of their cells. Like, we was being policed and housed inside our own community. That's how we started with the ghetto prisoner thing years ago. And so when he seen that and he like, I'm locked up and they free in the world, they getting the same treatment. That's when he, that helped him push the movement to try to change things, try to get his people to come together and start, marching and voting to make changes in our community so we could have opportunity. It's all about poverty. Crime comes from poverty, you know what I mean? If we don't have stuff and we want to have things, then we try to get it. So in actuality, we hurt people. We are already hurt. So we hurt other people in our quest to try to get to a better place.
Exactly. And like you said, hurt people, and poverty does strike violence and all type of criminal acts.
Right.
I'm 100% sure about that. But do you think when they seen that your father was changing his role and everything, like you said, he was all about bettering the community,
right,
and trying to spread that word. So when they seen that, do you think that's the reason they try to pin a case on him while he was incarcerated?
Well, of course, our great government would never put down a Black man that's trying to better his community. You know what I mean? It seems to be that way, but it's no hardcore facts that you can just say that they actually did that. But I mean, it appears to be that way, that anytime somebody is having an influence and power to do things, as far as a Black man, they kind of silence you. And over the years, it's been the power to do good or bad. When you show some type of power, they kind of don't want you to step up to the forefront. There's always a scandal or somebody's getting murdered or something, you know what I mean? So I can't say that that's for sure what they did, but it seems to be that way.
Just to stop all because I see he was all about bettering the community. So just to make that look bad, they pressed those charges just to.
I mean, he let the world know he's seen what Mayor Daley did and where he came from. He came from the streets. They came from gangs and what have you. They got into politics. He's seen how he took his people and they were running the city of Chicago. He figured if he had the influence to take his people and make a change, maybe he could make some changes in our community. And that's what he was trying to do. But, he got stopped before he got there. I can't say that that he came from poverty and that he wasn't at some point doing illegal things, but he really was trying to make a change in his community.
And he didn't have the money to make the change, so he had to do what he had to do as a young man. And that's a sad thing when you grow up, like you said, in poverty. You said he wasn't broke or nothing, but he wasn't living life how he wanted to.
I mean, well, I don't know how exactly how good he was doing as far as being in the streets when he was young and he was out here. But, a lot of organizations get government funding to, to do the things that they try to do in their community. Like, them things that was being done was maybe by some private funders and better individuals that were out here that really wanted to make a change, that was tired of seeing their brothers and their friends dying out here. Like, it's just that it was it was real. It was a real movement. All the real movements come from the inside out. You know, nobody on the outside is just gonna be able to make a change of what is going on with somebody else without getting in the inside of it and letting the people that's actually involved do what's necessary to make the changes.
Exactly. 100% right about that. So now, does your father have any fundraisers, or like, is he doing any community work from prison?
Well, I do the community work. I'm a representative of my father.
Yeah, I know. And you go speak to him. You go visit him a lot. So I know.
So, but yeah, he's not available to make calls or what have you. This is like the what he put inside me, what he put inside my mother, what he put inside other individuals. So the work and a lot of the stuff comes from his influence, but you know, he doesn't make the call of too much of what's going on out here at this point in time. You know, if he makes a call of too much, then it may be looked at as a negative thing, like, oh, you still doing this, that, and the other, when he wouldn't do anything to harm his community. It would be positive if he did make any calls, but I mean, it's inside people. It's inside people's heart that understood the teachings, and this is the work that people do. There's so many guys that come home and now they work in these organizations that try to stop the violence and get these young guys together, try to get people to get in the trades. They try to keep them from spending their life in the penitentiary or losing their life before they get a chance to live their life.
So in that case, what fundraisers or community work are you doing right now for like respect towards your father?
Well, right now we're trying to we putting some funding into prison reform. So we putting funding into different organizations so they can work on some of these laws and what have you, and then some funding's go to some of these organizations that's on the ground. I couldn't tell you the names of them exactly. When they got the list together of the organizations we go give funding to. So we're gonna be we're doing that. And then, you know, personally, it's speaking engagements coming up where we trying to speak to the youth, and you know, we feed the community when the opportunity comes in to have food to give the people, to give them a couple dollars. That's like that's pretty much giving away 50, 60 bucks when you give away a box of food. You know, it comes in handy. It's people that could really use it, you know.
Facts. And you said prison reform. I think you should like reach out to Meek Mill and what he's doing with his team over there. They doing prison reform too. I think y'all should work together.
Well, yeah, as time goes on, we're gonna, you know, try to join forces with everybody possible. You know, a lot of times people put down what other people are doing and they not doing nothing, when in reality, we need everybody, all hands on deck, from the smallest of somebody that's doing something to the biggest of somebody. So hopefully at some point in time, we can get together and maybe be able to do some things.
And talking about the biggest, I seen Kanye and Drake they did something for your father recently. How did that come about?
I mean, that's just you know, a lot of people have love and respect for him, and you know, they help put awareness out there. They help show themselves as bigger people to the other artists in the industry, put their things aside and you know, came together. So they spread awareness. So that brings people to help with my father in his situation. That brings awareness to that is people that are being inhumanely incarcerated, and you know, they just brought a lot of awareness to the world, and they showed a big example. We're trying to get some of these entertainers that could help change our communities to use their voice the right way, because they have a lot of influence with the youth. So hopefully with those two guys coming together and putting things aside, saying we can make money, we could spread good messages to the world. Like, hopefully it's a trickle down effect with it. You can get other individuals to maybe get together on some things. And I know it's a lot deeper, because it's a lot of entertainers being murdered and killed over what's going on out here in the streets. But at some point in time, it's got to come to an end. You can't kill everybody, and everybody's not worth killing. You know, it's just got to come to a stop. What's going to keep going, and you just going to keep losing. Nobody's ever going to win. Like, to stop a war, you have to come to agreement. And some of these guys got to come to some type of agreement and, you know, let it go, deal with the casualties that come with it, and move on, enjoy life, enjoy what the fruits of their labor, the positions that they got themselves put in, instead of being the guys that have to look out the most because they the spokesperson of, whatever beefs and what have you they had going on.
It's a sad environment we live in right now, because that's exactly what's going on right now. They gotta be careful what they say in the music, how they move. Like, they have one of the dangerous jobs right now.
Yeah, when I was coming up and if LL Cool J came through, I was happy to see LL Cool J, Spice One, whoever it was, even if they was gangsters rappers. I was, you was happy to see the entertainers as they came through. Right now, people are trying to see, like, are you really that tough? I want to try you. And, I thought entertainment was, being an entertainer was a good job. You make lots of money. You live a certain type of way, and people supposed to love you, not, want to take you out because of what you're saying.
And it's sad. I think, like, right now, what's going on in society, you're not cool unless you're gangster. You're just trying to show out. And sometimes some people don't have nothing to offer but like a gangster persona to people. Sometimes that's all they have to offer, and that's sad. We have to change that narrative in society right now.
I believe the music industry or what have you was at the forefront of that, because it got to the point where other music wasn't accepted. Like, they didn't play the other music. You had to go and research and find some hip hop. I see it's a few young guys coming back now that's, just trying to have a good time and make music that's thoughtful and just good music. But for a long time, it had got to the point where, oh, this sells, you know what I mean? And they just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And now it's not only sales, it kind of, trains your kids. Like, you fighting with your kids, like telling your kids that that's not real life. And in real life, they die. They don't get a chance to come back. And your kids are saying, but look, they got all that money. You stupid. You don't know what you're doing.
It don't last long. It don't last long. That's the thing you gotta tell these kids. You gotta play the long Jeopardy game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with Kanye, let's get back to the Kanye West thing. I see that he reached out to Trump. Why you think Trump didn't pardon your father? Because he had the power to at the moment.
At that moment, I don't know why he didn't do it at that moment. If he would have did it right away, it would have been great. But I think it may be because Kanye ran against him.
Nah, Kanye was going for him at one point. Remember, he had the red hat and everything?
No, he was going for him, but then he said he was running for office after that.
Oh, yeah. So that probably messed up everything.
I don't think that helped what we was trying to do at the time,
Kanye did.
He did go in there and make that effort, and put it out there. So I love him for that. You know what I mean?
He sure did. Like, he didn't have to do that. He did it. So
yeah, he didn't have to come take part in this at all. There's all type of stigma that comes with saying that you got love for Larry Hoover, because the powers that be, a lot of them don't want to accept what he brings to society. None of the good things that he brings to society or the people's lives that he changed. It's all about what negative he may have done and what parts he took in that. Even though it's same people that have done the same negatives, and it's just looked at differently. When he did it, it's that he's the mega man of negative compared to other people who, oh well, they just did that. They're sorry. I mean, he's also sorry for the harm that he caused to the community. You know how it is with people. What they say with people with color with power, they don't like to see that. So yeah. So can you explain the first act? Like, for some people that don't know what that is, the first act. What is that like? Regards to, like, how can that help free your father? Well, so as far as the First Step Act was concerned, it was discrepancy in the drug laws as far as crack cocaine compared to powder cocaine. So someone may have a pound of powder cocaine and an ounce of crack cocaine, and the guy with the crack cocaine, which you know who that is gonna get 30 years, and the guy with the pound of cocaine is gonna get probation. So it was a disparity in how they were charging people with that. So once they figured that out, they said it was a racist law. So once they figured that out and straightened the law out, a lot of people, they gave a certain amount of time that you could get for certain amounts of cocaine, and a lot of guys got an opportunity to come back home because they had to go in and re-sentence them. And the times that when they gave them 30, 40, 50 years for some crack cocaine and they changed the laws, they wound up, getting time served after 20
Nice.
or 25 years. So a lot of guys got a chance to come back home. And it's a lot of guys all over the country that were getting chances that still are getting chances to come home because of that.
So how's that going with your father? Is it true that Kanye West hired a lawyer for your father?
Yeah, he helped with some attorneys for my father.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I mean, he's definitely standing in there helping all along the trip. Like, he's not gone. He spread the awareness. He went to Trump, and he's still there in this fight with us. But as far as my father in the First Step Act, he qualifies for the First Step Act. He was denied without prejudice, which means it's questions that need to be answered, and we still have a chance to go back to the judge. So the attorneys are working to present what's necessary to the judge and hope that he feels as though my father deserves to come out in society. We just want to let him know that he would be an asset to us out here. He wouldn't harm the community. That's why I want the people behind me to, say that this man deserves a second chance. We forgive him, and he's not gonna come out here and do crime. Like I said on the Kanye song, if my father was interested in coming home and be a criminal, then I would feel like an idiot for staying behind him all this time and pushing for him to come home. I could have went on here with my life,
Exactly. But you've been spending most of your whole life pushing the awareness to free your father, which is a beautiful thing.
And I've been living the way that he taught me to live and the way that he was trying to teach other people to live. Like, I'm kind of like a blueprint of what he was about. Only thing different is that I spent a lot of time working for somebody else compared to being able to get my own businesses all the way off the ground like I wanted to. I've been in business here and there, and I'm always stay going in and out of business till I find the one that just takes all the way off. But, he's all about your own business and doing business with your community and building that up compared to having to work for somebody. But he understands if you do have to work for somebody, that's how you stay out of jail too.
Working the right way, doing things the right way, staying out of trouble. Your father had a great blueprint for the family and people around him. I see he helped raise good men.
Yeah.
So respect to your father for that. And I see you recently went to go see your father like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I went down there about a couple of weeks ago.
How are those moments when you go see your father? Is he continually drilling advice into you? Or is he just happy to see you when he sees you?
I mean, a little bit of both. He's happy to see me, but, he's very opinionated. So, yeah, he's definitely drilling in, his opinion on things. We're talking about what he's read about or what we've seen in the news. He's asking about the kids. It's always a good trip, but I'm so tired of making that trip at this point. It's like depressing to go down there to make this trip. You go all the way to Colorado, which should be like a vacation, but we spend vacation money to go down there, to go to the jail, to get checked in, to walk in the basement and sit at a glass window, and try to have the best conversation we have. Try to talk about what ideas we think would help his situation. Like, it's depressing that this is what we have to keep going through. And then it's not a whole lot going on in this world. So, your conversations, you can try to bring up all you can that's different, but, your conversations can't even go too far. I was making a joke and explaining to him that just speaking on the fact that they had their memories and that's what they had to live on, him and the other guys that's back there, because the majority of them been there for a long time. And I was saying, if a rat was to run through the cell house, then that'd probably be a good story. And he laughed and he like, yeah, and that happened. And they talked about the guy killing the rat for about a week.
Really?
Because just think, your life is sitting in the room right there.
Ain't nothing going on. So that's like something, that's like news of the day right there. A rat running through the cell.
That was something major. The guy, man, the rat came through here and I caught him. It was rough. He was jumping and running and hiding, but I got him. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're right though. It's not too much you could talk about when somebody calls it from jail. It's like you're creating stories to talk about all the time. And you're 100% right about that. Do they keep your father isolated 23-on-1 right now, or he's allowed to be around general population?
No, he's isolated. They talk through whatever methods they have to talk. You know what I mean? It's not like you go back and talk to the guys. It's whatever methods they figured out how they can communicate with each other.
And how long he been on 23-on-1?
I want to say he's been down there since 96, 97. And man, since then, he had a short period of time where they had some programs where he got to get out. And, yeah, that's what we said. You know, that's the whole thing. That's inhumane
right there.
He actually told me about a guy that they brought in there that has been in isolation, no phone calls and no visits since they've been there for 20-some years. Like that's like a horrible place.
Yeah, that's like.
And then I don't want to compare it to that, but it's people that have blew up and killed all type of people, and they make deals with send them back, and it's serial killers people that that actually put hands on a lot of people, and they get released back to society, and they worried about what my father might do. You're not worried that a person that's that's addicted to killing might not go back to body. Like,
blowing stuff up.
I killed 50 people, and I did it 20, 30 years, and I'm okay. I won't kill anybody else.
And they taking their chances with that.
Right, but I just want him to get another chance at redemption. He's a senior citizen. They say that guys over 55, it's like only 2% of them that take a chance and commit another crime after they release. Like, he's an old guy. Let him come home. He never touched none of that. Like, he's not interested in harming the community. If anything, if it would be accepted, he would try to help the community. If his voice would matter, he would use his voice to help the community.
He should definitely be a candidate for the First Step Act. I don't know what's going on over there, but he definitely should be a candidate for that. And they letting out OJ and Bill Cosby and stuff. I don't understand that, but they can't let your father out. That's crazy. So how did you feel about being on Kanye's album? Since you brought it up earlier, how did you feel about being on the album? Did he reach out to you? He call you for that?
Well, yeah, I know a lot of people in his camp. So he's been like 6 people away the whole time. But he reached out to me, and I just came to take part in the album release. And then he asked me about being on the album. We actually mentioned it, me, him, and my buddy GLC. And my buddy mentioned it, like, why not put him on there? And he called me like later on that evening or the next day and said, I want you to put something on the album. So then I went through the whole thing of trying to put something together. And next thing I know, I'm on the album.
Now you're part of a Grammy award winning.
Yeah, I'm Grammy nominated now.
There you go.
No idea. All I was trying to do was put some awareness about my father and my situation.
I know your father's very proud of you, man. You not only that you push for him, you look just like your father, man. Like he's like your twin.
Yeah, I heard that a few times.
Yeah, you look just like your father, man. So how did you feel about when Rick Ross said your father's name, though?
Hey, you know what? I'm happy that he kept his name alive. At this point, back then I wasn't all that that excited about it, but he did keep my father's name alive for the moment. Context was a little shaky, but he did a good thing. He tried to make an effort, to show love and respect to him. It just wasn't the best way to do it, but yeah.
The things he was saying, you wasn't feeling the things he was saying.
The fact that he was still fighting for his life. You know what I mean? I would have rather it been me and I'm doing business with the Hoovers. Go give him a wing stop, Did
he do anything after that? After shouting out your father, did he reach out to you for like business or anything? Did he do anything like that?
Well, we were supposed to move forward on some things that we didn't get into. Maybe he'll come back around.
Yeah, he should give y'all.
Well, we were supposed to bring some wing stops here to Chicago.
Yeah, he should give y'all a wing stop at least. Give y'all at least one in Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
So for people seeing this and they want to help out and spread awareness or donate to causes, how can they go about that?
So we have the Larry Hoover Project, where we had a Free My Father shirts. No, I'm sorry. It's LarryHooverJr.com, where we had a Free My Father shirts, which is a movement, and it's actually empty on the right here on the bottom, because you can put my father or you can put your father, because it's millions of kids in America with incarcerated parents. You know what I mean? So you can do that to help us move forward further in our quest to work on getting him released, because you know everything costs. Then we had a Larry Hoover Project, which explains about prison reform and some of the things that he's behind, gives you more information on him. As far as spreading awareness, you know, I like people just to know and let other people know that every time they mention his name, they speak of him as Larry Hoover, the murderer. Like, he's not, as far as his federal case that we're dealing with, he's not fighting a murder case. Quit slandering him in that manner, and just understand that if other people with the same case in the same situation deserve an opportunity to come home, and they're actually getting that opportunity, we just want the law to work for him in the same way and to give him a chance. You know, quit speaking of him as the legend of him is. Speak of him as the man who's trying to change his community, that's now a senior citizen that deserves a chance to come home just like all the other people that are coming home from the First Step Act. Like, I want the world to say that we want him to come back to the world. He doesn't deserve to be stuck there and to die in the cell like that, you know? And then as far as, also, I'm just on Larry Hoover Jr. _ on Instagram, just to kind of keep up with my little movements or what have you, as I move around.
Social media, Larry Hoover Jr. You got a Twitter, anything people can follow?
Nah, I don't have Twitter.
Okay, got you. So
yeah, I need people to assist me. I'm a little slow and all that.
Got you. You don't got no little nieces, nephews to help you out with that?
You know what? I got my son, but I don't know what's wrong with him, man. Something wrong.
You gotta help dad out, get the Twitter going and everything.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm still getting used to Twitter too. I'm just like you. I'm getting used to all these social medias and everything.
Yeah.
So what does 2022 hold for Larry Hoover Jr.? Do you have any books, anything? I can see you doing a book. Like, you have a story that that the world needs to hear, and you have a movement that you're trying to push. So I see you putting out a book soon.
That's a good idea. I'll be moving towards that. You know, that's been an idea. It hasn't been started, but that's an idea that's been out there in the works. Like, I can't really say exactly what's going on for 2022. It's a lot of things just in the making. Just kind of stay tuned, and you know, we'll be moving forward on some things.
Good to hear. So everybody's
I'll be out here.
He's out here. He's working. Yeah. He's pushing the objective to free his father. He's letting the awareness be known. I'm telling you, he needs to push a book, because he has a story that I think the world would love to hear, and that could help spread the awareness to free your father through a book, because you know there's a lot of readers out here. So I think that'll be good for you. And that's about it, man. I appreciate you stopping by No Smoke TV. I appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by the show. And we gonna keep spreading awareness to your father. Everybody that sees this, spread awareness. Buy a hoodie, buy a shirt, donate, do what you gotta do, spread the cause, because we all have a father that we love, and my man's trying to get his father home. So everybody spread that awareness. And if you got anything to say before we get out of here?
No, man, I just thanks for having me and giving me opportunity to keep spreading the information out to the world, man.
Anytime, man. Anytime you want to come back, you're welcome. And thank you for stopping by again. I'm out of here, Larry.
All right.